Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to sit down and film kind of my really easy everyday makeup routine. It's very natural, it's a little bit glowy, but I just kind of wanted to show you the products and take you through the steps I do every day. Right now my face is completely bare, all I've done is washed and moisturized. So we're just going to go ahead and get started with the first step. The first thing I use, and I mentioned this in my last favorites video as an honorable mention, is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. And I have this in the shade Opal, which is the lightest shade. This is a very light to medium coverage, more like light coverage, and why will it not focus today? Let's try this. There we go. Okay, maybe it was just too close to the camera. So it looks just like that. And I just squeeze it on the back of my hand. And I do have my mirror right here so that I can see a little bit better and not be completely out of frame. And we are using autofocus this morning, so hopefully you can see okay. I might zoom you in just a touch more, just so you can get really up close and personal. So I just take some on my hand. Then I start spreading it all over just like a moisturizer. Now, I am pale and this is not a perfect shade match, but I really just use this to even out the skin tone. Now, I cannot get this perfect and I do try to take it down my neck, but what I do after that is I just grab a tissue, wipe my hands clean, and then I've been just taking a foundation brush, this is by Real Techniques, and kind of buffing it the rest of the way. This is really the only foundation I've been using my hands with just because it is so light. But once I see I've got, everything sort of blended, there's no like marks where I might have even stopped before my lips are around my nose, then I'm going to close that back up. I've been taking my concealer, and the one I've been using just for an everyday basis is the Makeup Revolution Concealer in C1. I've just been using this because it's not too drying, it has decent coverage, but it's just a good everyday concealer. Now, when I say it doesn't have too much coverage, when I've done this makeup routine before, if I use something like, for example, Tarte Shape Tape, that is a very full coverage concealer, and it really looks like too much with something this light of coverage on the base. So this one still has good coverage, but it does look a little bit more natural and a little bit more seamless with this, kind of tinted moisturizer on our base. Now I'm just going to take my Eco Tool sponge, which I have dampened, and just kind of go over that concealer a touch, just so there's no streaky marks or anything like that, and then I get those inner caverns done. Now normally I will color correct, but if I'm doing like an everyday look, I usually don't. I only do it if I have time. Now we're going to set everything. So for my under eyes, the thing that's worked best is the Cody Airspun Loose Powder, and I'm going to take that on my same Eco Tools dampened sponge. I'm going to try to stay in my focus frame here. But I do keep the little poofy in it because what I do is I take this off and there's just enough in there for me to use, so I'll just dip it right in and then just go all over and under my eye. Now I have learned with my particular eyes, in order to not have my under eye concealer crease, I basically have to go like right up to the eyeball or the lower lash line, because I do have a fine line right there, and my concealer always does it no matter what I use if I don't, kind of press my powder in right there. And I always do it with the damp sponge or else it looks too dry. And this is the best powder that instantly like mattifies and sets, even with the damp sponge, but because my sponge is damp, it doesn't look like too much. Now I'm just going to take that all over the rest of my concealer spots. I'm just dabbing in a little bit more. Can you see how that kind of mattified the T-zone? Now I do get a touch oily throughout the day, and it's really only right here, but I just set those with that anyways. Now I'm going to close up my powder again. For the rest of my face, I'm going to use a very smoothing powder. Now, I always use some kind of powder foundation to set the rest of my face. Today I'm just going to use my Sephora Microsmooth in the shade Clair or Light. And I'm going to take that on an e.l.f. Complexion brush. So I'm just going to start by dipping in, and then just kind of start by patting it in to lightly set everything. Now this will take away some of the glow, but it will set the product and add just a smidge of coverage, and it helps everything look really smooth. So after I almost like stipple it on, for lack of a better word, I kind of buff it in. I just want to make sure I don't accidentally keep anything unset, because I want it to stay and not transfer off of my skin. Alright, we're mostly set there. Now, this is kind of like the easy quick part. I'm just going to take the same brush and lightly sweep some bronzer over my skin. Take a little bit, hit the cheeks, hit the temples, a little bit of the forehead. Now I do a very light wash of this for every day, so I'm not extreme bronzing. I'm just slightly warming up the perimeters of my face. That's literally all I do. Then I'm going to take my e.l.f. Mineral Pressed Blush. They don't make this anymore, which makes me really sad because it was a really nice underrated product. But I'm going to take that, and I usually take this on, whatever fluffy brush I have laying around, although I think I forgot my blush brush. So we're just going to use that same brush and just kind of lightly wash that all over this area of my skin. And this is just a nice everyday pink shade. If I'm not using this, I'm using Tarte's Exposed. Just for reference. Now, since my skin is matte and I want it to be glowy, I'm going to take my MAC Lightscapade Highlighter. Oops, I'm going to hold it way over here where it's not in focus. Let's try that. And then I just take my e.l.f. small tapered brush, swirl it in a little bit, tap it off. I hit my nose, Cupid's bow, chin, sorry I'm looking in my mirror, my cheeks, up here a little bit. The reason I'm using this highlighter is because it's so subtle and natural looking. You really do kind of have to build this up so it is really light, and then I always kind of hit the center of my forehead just to give that a little bit of a glow. Alright, so now, for my brows, what I do on an everyday basis is I either take a brow powder or my pencil, and since I left that palette in the drawer, we're not going to use the powder, we're just going to use this pencil, and I'm going to lightly kind of outline them and then quickly fill them in. Now, if you've seen any of my favorites videos recently, sorry about that. I love the NYX Micro Brow, but I'm currently using this up. This is not my favorite, but it does do the job rather quickly. And I'm just lightly filling in my brows. Well, not lightly. My brows are pretty light and you can definitely see a difference. I'm trying to like look in the mirror and stay in frame. You're probably like, what is this woman doing? I always feel like when I do my brows on camera, I screw them up. So I'm trying to go really slow, but like not slow. I don't know. Brows are one thing that I usually never rush through. Like I rush through my blush and bronzer, as you saw. This I do not. Okay, now I'm just going to take the spoolie, comb through them. Then I'm just going to finish them with the Essence Make Me Brow in 03 Soft Brownie Brows. This is just going to kind of set them in place a little bit and add a little bit of texture and color because this does have fibers and it is a tinted gel, but it's not going to give a whole lot of color. Alright, now before I do my mascara, because I've noticed if I ever do my mascara and then set my face, it's game over and it gets everywhere. So I have currently been using the Catrice Prime and Fine kind of dewy illuminating setting spray. I shake it up, then I spray. Yeah, I do kind of take a bath. When that is dry, I will take whatever mascara I'm using. Right now I'm using my Covergirl Supersizer to use it up, and I just hit my top lashes with it, and that is it. You notice I didn't put anything on my lips. All I do is put lip balm on for every day and my mascara, and that is literally it. So basically that's it for every day. I try to do super quick, super easy, you know. Your complexion is done, your brows are done, your lips are moisturized, you know, you have somewhat glowy skin, but it's not too over the top and it still looks really, really natural, especially when you put on the mascara. So that is pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from this channel, subscribe, then hit that notification bell. I always do Mondays and Fridays, sometimes a random Wednesday or Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye!